All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just go ahead and share this link on the Facebook page real quick, and we will get into it. Oh, man. So I hope you guys are doing better than I'm doing. It's because I've had a cold for like a week and a half, and I'm pretty sure I just have Ebola. It's man. So for those of you who are new to the channel, what I like to do, give me 1 second, get the chat up here. But what I like to do is I like to say hello, say goodbye, say no, so I can start making some sense. All right, there we go. So if you're new to the channel, this may be something that you're not accustomed to, and that's good. So every 1,000 subscribers, I like to do a subscriber special, where it's a bonus live stream, right? This was before I was doing live streams every Saturday, and I kind of want to continue them on. It's kind of tradition, right? So every 1,000 subscribers, we get to do a live stream. I can answer your questions, try and help you out any way I can, and have some fun with it. So this is your opportunity, because I do get questions all the time. I got an email and a tweet the other day from a guy struggling with algorithms, and I just haven't had a chance to answer back, and I usually don't, to be honest with you. Otherwise, I'd be doing this full-time, unpaid, homeless crackhead. I don't know. But probably not a crackhead, but homeless, because I want to have a job, because I answer your questions all the time. So this is an opportunity for you to do that. And it's an opportunity for me to say thank you to the 28,000 of you who subscribed beforehand, and to say thank you to the new 1,000 of you who are part of the fam, and say welcome. It's been fun. David, Ricky, Ross, Simba, Dennis. Yeah, we've been growing pretty fast, man. So we've been growing by about 1,700 subscribers a month. So you get one of these every 2.5 weeks or so, which is kind of nice. It's break it up a little bit. What I've been up to? I've been sick, as I mentioned, for the past 10 days. My hair has also started growing back. You see this? That's hair. I haven't had that in a while. So the hair is growing back. I've also started studying more in-depth Angular, and I've been at this weird point in life. If you guys watch this Saturday's live stream, I think I may have come off as depressed, but I really was trying not to come off as depressed so much as someone that was mentally stuck on a place. So let's see here. And I kind of figured out what that was, and we'll address that in a second. So Dylan, Dylan, you said you got a job about 3/4 through the free CodeCamp front-end certificate. The curriculum has changed. Can you give you an idea of how that is for the current FCC? Did they actually update the curriculum finally? I know they have the beta. Did they actually add some new stuff? Because I'd find it pretty hard to believe that I didn't get an email or something from them. But I'm going on the site real quick. So looking at the map, the curriculum has not changed on freecodecamp.org. So I think maybe you're talking about the beta. So let's see what you guys are actually asking questions today. That's good, man. Your boy doesn't have his glasses on, so he can't read as fast as he normally should. But yeah, so the curriculum's the same as when I took it, when I was working through it. So what do you think the top 5 skills you need as front-end developer are? Well, one thing I can say is that is obviously JavaScript. I also think you need a job. So, all right. So let's just get over the. Let's get the. I'm gonna bundle these three into one skill. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is one skill because those are like the core requirements, and we're saying the basic working knowledge of that. Skill number 2 is a current popular front-end framework. That is React or Angular. There are no others. Skill number 3 is working knowledge of jQuery. A lot of times that's just something you're going to need depending on the job. It's just going to do you justice. Although that is the maybe skill of this 5-skill list. Skill number 4 is Git. Please get comfortable with version control. Skill number 5 is communication. It's not a hard skill, but it is the most important skill for you to be able to have. You need to be able to communication / passion are the 2 soft skills that you really need as a developer, especially when you're getting started. If you have those 5 skills as a front-end developer, that's what you need. So JavaScript, obviously the biggest part of that. And JavaScript frameworks follow, but communication and passion are the first one. It's going on to first one for, in my eyes, and in a lot of developers' eyes. You think it's a lot different than the one I went through? So if you're talking about the beta on Free Code Camp, it is slightly different. They have updated it. I'll definitely do a review of it, and I'll definitely go through the projects. I started building out some a while back, but I was like, I'll just wait till it's out. Shane, you just got back from the Philippines? Hey, Matt's in the Philippines right now. Haven't watched any videos in a while. Unsubscribe from you. No, that's all right. Thank you for the congrats. Have I finished the React Now degree? No, I've discontinued my energy, throwing my energy at that since landing my role. Because I am actually focused on learning Angular more in depth because that is what I do in my role. Do I think that it's easier to get a job in a startup or with a big company? Well, I would say, Jim, that you shouldn't really be looking for one or the other. You should be applying for roles at both to start your career. That's really my advice. And secondary advice is whatever you think your weaknesses are, work on them. If you're not sure, ask a friend that will be honest with you, and ask a developer. But I don't think anybody for their first developer job should be picky. I would say every workplace is different, and it depends. There's some startups that are doing very well and are looking to build out a team of junior devs and mentor them over the next several years. And there's some startups that are only going to hire the best of the best senior developers. So it really kind of depends. And that goes the same for corporate companies and larger established big companies. It really just kind of depends. So Forrest Dank said, last time you mentioned you did the Google Nano degree, you said you take the mobile path. I think you're talking about the live stream two live streams ago, where I talked about how Google is giving away 50,000 nano degrees, and essentially 25,000 are web and 25,000 are mobile. Is that because you're already a dev? Yes, that is correct. The reason I would actually take that is because it would be something different. The concepts that we'd be working with in terms of web are things that I am familiar with, and things that I wouldn't necessarily learn as much. So if I were to choose one at this point in time where I'm at in my life and career, I would do mobile just because I don't think the return would be all that great or as interesting. However, if I was clean slate, wasn't a developer, I definitely would do web over mobile. It was more of an interest thing in mobile than anything else. Is it ever a good idea to work for a disreputable company for money? I got an interview lined up for doing SQL / customer service, but I'm very skeptical as the company has sued several of its clients. I mean, I wouldn't be worried about it. honestly, when I look at companies, I look at what's on Glassdoor. I don't care what's going on in the news. I want to see what the employees are saying. For all you know, the company is suing its clients, deserve to be sued, and treat their employees great. But I would definitely do the research about the company if that's something you're worried about. Have I noticed a raise in income at all from the channel from a raise in subs? You don't get any more money because you have more subscribers, but my views and watch time have been going up, and so my income has steadily been going up as well. So I believe 6 months ago, if I was showing my income, it was around $350 or $300 in ad revenue, not counting sponsorships or affiliate links or anything else like that. And now it's hovering around 500. So yeah, but I am a little worried about the ad revenue. So if you guys have been noticing, I've always had a Patreon where I get about $45, $50 a month, and it's really nice because it pays for basically everything it costs for me to maintain a YouTube channel monthly, and it's just nice to have support that way. But if you've noticed, I've been throwing affiliate links in my videos. Part of that was triggered by other channels getting demonetized, and now my videos. So if you watch one of my more recent videos where I say how to join the coding community, got demonetized. Should you take an unpaid internship? Got demonetized. These are topics that aren't controversial. We're talking about software stuff, right? I don't know why they got demonetized. They don't tell you. But if you see the affiliate links and stuff like that, that is what happened. So how many jobs per day did you apply to? Again, might be a good video idea. How did you go about it? I applied primarily through LinkedIn and ZipRecruiter, although depending on ZipRecruiter, I think sometimes it'll pull me to other sites. But it would depend on the day, but I would say somewhere between like 50 to 100 a day. I would spend all day applying when I was first looking for a role everywhere. Everywhere on LinkedIn and ZipRecruiter in the United States. And I would search for jobs only that got posted in the last 24 hours because I was applying every day and I wanted to be the first applicant in there because they're really just trying to find the first one that looks good. And I wanted to make sure they saw my resume. So that was where I was at. I've been trying to find companies that are willing to train new developers, willing to invest with people with a lot of experience. How do you find these companies? I don't know, man. For me, it was just a numbers game. I just applied as many times as I could. I figured I only needed one job at the end of the day when I was getting started. So why were they demonetized? They don't tell you. Because the content is inappropriate is the general response. Can you appeal it? You can appeal it, which is fine, but most people's channels, mine included, in their first day of releasing a video, get the bulk of the views for most people's videos. And it varies, but this is a general rule of thumb. So say it gets demonetized immediately, so you lose out on 90% of the revenue of a video or 75% of the revenue of a video immediately. And then it's kind of like, well, shit, man, I spent the time doing this video. And you can see why people get frustrated about it, not just me. All right, have a good one, Jim. I heard that Google is demonetizing because advertisers rarely realize that people rarely click on ads, if ever. So I couldn't tell you. I think that's probably just skeptics, or that's just some theory crafting. But it's just like anything else. Television ads, any other ad. I'm sure it has the same conversion rate, if not better, because you're already on a device that you can go and actually access that product if you want it, or if you're interested in it. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm personally not too worried about it, but it does suck, right? It does suck when you're talking about you know, I started I put out 3 videos a week, and I do a live stream every week. So it just sucks that it's just it's demotivating. Like, I completely understand why other people get fed up and leave, especially if it's affecting them on a much larger scale than it does on my channel, right? Dylan, if a place was looking for a web dev and doesn't ask any technical questions to vet the skill of a potential web dev, would you decline whatever they offer or commit to working for them for a bit? I wouldn't be too worried about it, especially if you're on the junior side. And what do you mean they don't ask any technical questions? Like, they don't ask you basic stuff, or they don't ask how you to explain your experience? Because this again goes to, sometimes companies are looking for the right fit regardless of the skill set. So, but as someone being interviewed, you also have the ability to ask questions to get to whatever is worrying you about them not asking technical questions. So I would say, David, if that's something you're concerned about, just bring it up with them and go from there. Ask them. It's usually not a problem you're gonna have, though, most of the time. Do I use other front-end frameworks? No, not in my workplace. Could I do my projects in Java? Yeah. Let me just go ahead and do everything in Java so I can shoot myself in the head for you. No, I I don't want to do them in Java. I could. It'd take me a little bit to brush up. Java was what my coursework in college was in, but I don't want to do that. Java's awful. Is it possible to have a web dev job that allows you to work remotely? Of course it is. Although it just kind of depends on what it's going to be hard, if not impossible, when you're just starting. A lot of the remote jobs, guys, are for senior developers. That's just kind of the gist of it. What coding courses did you learn in college? I had 3 Java courses. I also had a Python course. I had a Scala course. I had a C++ course. And that was it, I think. I had a creating like a architecture course, a database course. Does coffee give you the runs? Sometimes. I'll be real with you. It depends. Did I eat any breakfast before the coffee? If not, whew. I've started applying to web developer jobs recently. How long does it take to hear back from the jobs you apply to? It depends on your job search strategy and what you're going to do. If you're applying to jobs that are 3 weeks old, good luck. If you're applying to jobs that day, maybe pretty quickly, which is one of the reasons that I apply to jobs that come out that day. Am I going to finish my degree? Let me tell you, the Crusader Rabbits, this is something I think about every day. I don't know. I want to, and I don't want to. We'll see. We'll see is the answer. I would like an employer to pay for it so I don't have to. That's the truth of the matter. What's your thoughts on the popularity of jQuery, and do you think it's going to be in high demand in the near future? jQuery is I mean, jQuery is used on a lot of websites. The thing is, if you want to make good money and work on web applications, that's going to be in React, that's going to be in Angular, and that should be what your focus should be on most of the time. Do I brush my cats every day? No. Which is better in superior service, Treehouse or FreeCodeCamp? They're not. You can't compare them. Treehouse is a video platform that helps teaches you. FreeCodeCamp is a free online interactive tutorial service. You should do both, but they're not comparable. You can compare FreeCodeCamp to Codecademy because they're essentially the same thing. Can you briefly give a general description of UI UX design, and can you give any tips to go after learning the basic fundamentals of CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and jQuery? Well, UI UX really just refers to having good design, having things that when a user looks at your web application, they know what it does, right? Using correct color schemes, correct design patterns, and then user experience is essentially it just working well. They're very similar. It's just about making sure that things are intuitive and should be working as they looking, and a user is able to figure out how your application looks without you sitting down and showing them. In terms of what you should learn after the fundamentals of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and jQuery, you should definitely pick up some version control with Git, as well as a front-end framework and a database if that's what you're looking for. So since you're learning PHP, you're probably going to want to pick up MySQL. Do you have any resume advice for someone new to web development? I do, actually. I have several videos, MacDude, in the Let's Talk Code playlist or Ask a Dev playlist. And so in there, I have something for, I have 5 things that you should do to land a web development job. And I also have some resume tips in there as well. I forget the name of that video. Agree or disagree? Government jobs like formal education on a resume. I agree. There are a lot of government agencies that won't hire you at all if you don't have a formal education. Should I learn Python first for 6 months before starting web development? You should look into why you would learn Python, what sort of roles that is, and if that's something that you're interested in, you should dive deep into Python. If you're looking more for front-end web development, you should dive deep into JavaScript. It kind of depends what where your interest lies, I guess I should say. Do I follow pro sports? The only sport that I follow is mixed martial arts. Yes, VLS. I did figure out what I was missing the other day. So for those of you who missed a live stream the other day, I mentioned it briefly how I was trying to I was feeling a bit off, and I ended up realizing that for the first time in about 3 years, I didn't have necessarily a direction I was trying to go with myself as a developer. And that was it. It wasn't that I had like free time. It was that mentally I wasn't working towards a goal as a developer. I was working towards YouTube and building projects for YouTube, but as an individual focused on myself, learning outside of work, I didn't have the goal I was going to. This last year was get better with the back end, learn as many new skills as possible. But now my goal is to be more focused on as a front end developer, and as no goals in terms of me, specifically for me. I have goals for YouTube. I have goals of salaries and houses, but in terms of working for a developer goal, how I'm going to get better as a developer and what specific thing I'm going to do, it had been missing for me for about 6 weeks since I got this new job, because that was my goal. And so anyhow, I kind of have thought about it, and I was like, oh, that's it. And that was what was throwing me off. So what I'm going to be doing moving forward is I'm going to actually be learning Angular inside and out. And I'm also specifically diving deep into JavaScript. And what I mean by that is oftentimes you use 10% of the language 90% of the time. And I want to learn JavaScript much more in depth than I have. And like do you know console, there's other things other than console log that console does? Because like I knew that, but I couldn't actually tell you what it does, like they are. So these are things that I want to learn JavaScript in a much more in-depth professional level, and sort of instead of being a generalist, I'm going to start being a specialist in JavaScript and Angular specifically. So that's going to be my goal for the next 6 months to a year at my role for this next year. Let's see here. GSP, yes, GSP did very well. Thoughts on UFC 217? I was very surprised that it was an excellent card. It was an amazing card. I was very surprised that all 3 belts lost. I actually thought GSP was going to lose. I kind of thought, it's 4 years without a fight. And then you had I'm forgetting her name, but have a good one, David. The young lady who lost her belt, who was going to tie Ronda Rousey's record. Kind of sorry to see. Yeah, Joanna. That was probably the most surprising. But yeah, it was a great card. Are you still going to build a web app as a personal project? I think you're talking about the Angular, personal portfolio project. Is that what you're talking about, Science of Learning? Congrats, Dylan. If you don't mind me, your contract at your current job, do you retain all copyright for any projects you make on the side? They wouldn't like me talking about what my contract says or doesn't say, but I'm not worried about them taking any of my projects. Yeah, so I am still building that. I actually uploaded it. I wanted it to be out last week, but this cold has been holding me back a little bit. But yeah, so I finished the project. I recorded it. Now I need to refactor it. I'll probably finish it this weekend and release it for $5. Nothing crazy, just $5. A fun little project if you want something to work on. The funniest t-shirt I have seen, probably I love PHP. I just say some salty dude went off on the Node versus PHP video the other day or today in a comment. Hope you're watching. No. Top 3 companies you'd like to work for one day? Well, I would say that I want to work for Google. I would say it's kind of the same old. From a professional standpoint, Google, Amazon, Facebook. From a personal standpoint, I would want to work for a coding platform of some sort. That could be a Treehouse. That could be a some sort of education-based platform. That could be a, let's see, a Treehouse, a LinkedIn Learning, a something like that. Would you work at Free Code Camp if they offered a position? Yeah, but I don't think they can, because it's all open source and they don't make any money. But I would. Yeah, working for a coding boot camp has always been a dream of mine. I'd love to go and work at Dev Mountain or something like that. So salary or excitement of role? It kind of depends where you're at in your career, but I would take salary, and you can always take salary, and the salary will let you get a higher salary for a role that excites you 6 months later. That's how I kind of look at it. Much cheaper than some YouTube courses. Yeah, it's just one project though, Orange. That's why it's only $5. So all my courses are going to be $5 unless I actually put like 20 hours of content. This probably be like 4 or 5 hours of content. Nothing crazy. Wouldn't knowing Python a bit help a newbie understand JavaScript? Knowing any language a bit would help you understand any other language. Have I done any animation projects? I built a animation into the project, that just a little fade animation into the project that I'll be releasing. A lot of times animation is, are you talking about just like web animations or actual like After Effects animations? Why do I put restrictions on videos? Please at times make it available to all countries. I don't put restrictions on any of the videos. That's some Google shit going on. Opinion on dev slopes. I am not familiar with dev slopes. Did I ever feel imposter syndrome when you were hired at your first job, and how did you overcome that? This is something that's pretty common. But I know that I did. Not for very long. You know what? I take that back, because I could tell you that I really was worried that me not having a CS degree was going to affect my career, and it still might down the road, right? As I get passed up for tech lead roles or architect roles or anything like that, as I've, even though years of experience, because that's just naturally happens. So, but I could tell you that after this last job jump, it went away for me for the most part, because I had several offers on the table, like not just like, oh, well, I'm interviewing. I had many interviews and I had several hard offers. Contracts are here, just sign it and you got a job. And that was something that after kind of seeing that and understanding how much work I've put in, understanding my value as an employee, it helped to eliminate that. I still think about going back to school just because I always want to be prepared. But I could say, in terms of imposter syndrome, I think that was probably the nail in the coffin for that for me, was just sort of actually seeing the real world implications of what my salary and what my experience is actually worth, and it's worth something. And that kind of did it for me. Have you ever worked on any programming having to do with blockchain technology? If you're being interested in a space, what type of skills would one need? It depends. There are blockchain technology for a lot of things, but it is something that I will be diving into in about 6 months after I kind of fill this JavaScript and this Angular knowledge that I want to. I plan on learning blockchain. And I couldn't really tell you what to learn, but I do know that you can do a bunch of different. Actually, look at meetups, man. I'm going to an Ethereum contract meetup next week, so maybe check out meetups near you to see if there's anything that you can learn. Do I find recruiters annoying? Yes, but I do appreciate them. But I would say 7 out of 10 are annoying. But hey, Will you be learning Big O? No. I have no plans to learn any of these bullshit algorithms. I've talked about Big O, done all that Big O in college, and no need to review it. Do I still live in Florida? Yes. Have I tried a gator burger slash steak yet? No. But I am a fan of alligator sausage, which is delicious if you guys ever try it. Although gator burger slash steak, that sounds like something I should go check out. Hey, Achilles. Hey, buddy. Did the algorithms help you learn Angular faster? The algorithms helped me get better at JavaScript. They also helped me practice and prepare for the whiteboard interviews that I had. And they made me just do better all around. Remember when you got a haircut that was really short? Yeah, that was my last haircut, man. It's coming back, baby. Do I still wear glasses? Yes, I actually got a new pair. It's on its way. Do anyone else laugh when I said gator sausage? There's nothing funny about gator sausage, man. Yeah, it's but yeah, so I am trying to overcome my cold. So I apologize if I don't seem super exciting and ecstatic. I'm actually very happy. I love doing these live streams in general, and I appreciate everyone watching and asking. So so you retired from code fights? Yes and no. I have a love-hate relationship with code fights. I have actually gone and done more algorithms on there. I've probably done about 10 in the last 6 weeks, so not very many. But the problem is that I can't upload videos on them, so you're not going to see them anymore. Because they just don't, no one watches them. That's the truth of the matter. If I were to upload them, I'd probably upload them on a secondary channel. All command line or some GitHub desktop. I used to use GitHub desktop, but now I use command line. So kind of, I just bit the bullet and I wanted to get better. And there was one hiccup where I accidentally pushed straight to master. Luckily, it wasn't that big of a deal, but besides that, it's been going pretty well. I'm going to check out Max on Catamine to get deeper into JS. I'm going to check out a lot of things. I imagine he will be that. Do you think that code fights could be a huge waste of time? No, I think it's a great way to practice. I think it's a great way to challenge yourself and get better. And I could tell you for a fact that it wasn't a waste of my time just because the videos didn't do well. I was using that as practice for me to interview. And I consider the reason I was able to pass these technical interviews and have 3 offers on the table at one time was because I studied and I practiced and I learned and I enjoyed doing it. It's just a different way of doing it. For me, though, right now, the reason I'm not going to do it is, one, it's not going to work for me in terms of putting it on the channel. And 2, it doesn't really accomplish what I want to do right now, which is at that time, it was to prepare me for technical interviews and to prepare me to solve whiteboard problems and all that sort of stuff. And now my goal is to learn JavaScript more in depth and learn Angular more in depth. And to me, that means I'm going to be doing courses, going through documentations, and I'm also going to be building projects. So that's kind of where I'm trying to go. And doing code fights to solve some mathematical equation and stuff doesn't matter. Have I seen the Reddit thread where a junior dev destroyed the production database? Yeah, we were talking about that today actually at work, which is pretty funny, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's funny for us. It probably wasn't very funny for the company. We're really good. What's your favorite death metal band? I don't have one, guys. I don't actually really listen to music. All the music I listen to is like trap music from anime and gaming that has been remixed. So for the next 6 months, will you focus on JavaScript and Angular and then probably blockchain? Yes. Are you not too keen on learning ES6? No. I write. When I say JavaScript, that includes ES6. That includes ES 2017, and it will include ES 2018 when that comes out. Don't listen to My Chemical Romance. Oh my God, we're bringing it back, man. Let's talk about bands from middle school. My Chemical Romance. What else was there? There was Simple Plan. That's not the same, really, as My Chemical Romance. So that you nailed one in a million right there. When are you getting married? What's marriage? Green Day. Yeah, Green Day'd be a good one. Blink 182. Let's see. I think I was listening to a lot of Radiohead about that time. Radiohead was popping off. You had Sublime. Sublime was, oh my goodness, you still hear Sublime on the radio. Sublime. Trying to think. Any interesting web app you'd like to do? Yeah, besides the to-do app. I have a dashboard app that I would like to make where essentially it allows users to build their own customizable dashboard with all social medias, and multiple other things where essentially it's a drag and drop dashboard for everything: Facebook, Bitcoin prices, weather, time zones, and it's just a customizable dashboard. I've wanted to build this for myself for a while. I think it'd be a pretty cool project. It might be something that I build down the road. Yeah. The Darkness. Did anyone ever watch The Darkness? I believe in a thing called love. Yeah, we're bringing back the classics, man. You guys are really gonna get me to show my age today. Honestly, Alex Adams, I feel like if you did code 70 to-do apps, 70 different to-do apps, somebody would give you a job as straight respect. I would. If you had 70 to-do apps and 70 different JavaScript frameworks, you got a job. Let's see. The bands, man. Willie Tito? My cat's name is Tito. Oh man! All right, enough about bad music from the 90s. Actually, not bad music. Most of it was pretty good, except Creed. Oh my goodness! I came from a time when Creed existed. What do you do when you feel as if you've lost your coding superpower? You get some sleep, or you get more caffeine, or you take a break. That's really it at the end of the day. Oftentimes, you can then, if you don't want to do any of those unhealthy things, the sleep thing's not too bad. But if you want to go and start work on something else, oftentimes when I get stuck on a project, I do algorithms. When I get stuck on an algorithm, I go do a project. When I started working on one thing and I just was pounding my head, it's not fun. I'd actually just pause the project and go work on a different one. I really do try, when you say lost your coding superpower, what you're basically talking about is being frustrated and losing out on the fun, not enjoying it anymore. And when you find a way to when you start to not enjoy this stuff, that's really when you stop learning. And you need to make sure that you don't do that, right? A lot of school is miserable because they make it as miserable as possible. They really don't care about delivering entertaining and educational content, infotainment, if you will, and and it was one of those things where for me it was miserable. But I would say for someone who's self-teaching or going the self-taught route, when you hit that sort of roadblock, go and learn something else in a different format. Go read a blog. Go to a meetup. Watch some videos on YouTube about subjects and just educate yourself slightly differently and take a break. Do I make any spicy memes? I am a spicy meme. All right. No, the spiciest memes I get are the little If you notice in the video, if you guys have been watching to the end of the videos, I always have a little 10 to 15 second banter with April at the end of the videos to be funny. So that's something new that I've been doing in like the last 5 or 6 videos. And I really enjoy that. It's kind of fun. I actually got to think of some video topics. I have none for next week. I'm out of videos. Normally I have 3 or 4 filmed. I think it's just cold, man. Thank you, Andrew. How did I do in the Udacity? I did all right, but I didn't finish the course. I took the React course to learn React while I was looking for jobs. I got a job that used Angular 4, now Angular 5, and I stopped doing it and focused on Angular. I don't really plan to go back. No real point for me at this point in time. But I would recommend it. I thought it was a very good program. I would feel confident recommending it. I'm trying to teach myself, and I started out strong, but I'm having some motivation problems. How do you practice coding 6 hours a day without losing motivation? Really just depends on at least in my case, it depended on what my situation was. I had dropped out of school and was working a job that I didn't want to work much longer, or that was always going to be a temporary job till I became a developer. And there was no turning back for me. I didn't like being broke, and I didn't like being hungry, and even working full time, I was. And so that was it for me. Would you train your cats to use the toilet? I would. This is something April and I have talked about before. I know there are training like kits for you to help train your cats, and we've thought about it. We just never got around to it. Is buying a bidet worth the money? I've never used a bidet. I would like to see. I have my doubts that it works. Yeah. Agree or disagree? Getting your first dev job is the hardest. Agree. It's not impossible, but of all the dev jobs you're going to get, most likely going to be the hardest. Used to watch you in the summer coding almost 24/7. Hey, trying. Oh yeah. So when I say master JavaScript and Angular, I don't mean that I'm going to learn everything and then I'm going to be the OG. I'm really more so referring to I'm going to spend time to devote energy to dive into it. Did not being mentioned in Eric's top 5 best YouTube channels to learn code online piss you off? No. Eric's entitled to his opinion. I didn't put him on my list. I don't think he was pissed. He sent me a funny email the other day anyhow. And he did give me a shout out in the beginning of it anyhow. Have you bombed any face-to-face coding job interviews? Not face-to-face, but I have bombed phone to webcam interviews, and those are just as awkward, I assure you. where you're like, shit, should I actually just unplug my computer and not call them back? Like, I've literally sat there and be like, I'm tanking this, and I know with how nervous I am and how everything's going, I just don't understand this problem. Maybe I should just unplug the computer. Like, save us both an hour. But yeah, I haven't tanked any in-person technical interviews. A lot of times the in-person ones are pretty realistic because they don't want that to happen as much. Would you like to create your own programming language? Maybe as a hobby, like just a fun one, nothing serious. I'm not qualified to create a language. I wouldn't even know how to without looking it up. It's a lot of work by the sounds of it. But maybe if I just wanted to make a fun one, we could make a new language called Code God. Just something to have a little fun. I think it becomes caffeinated hot chocolate. Where do companies come up with these numbers for years of experience? Just saw one says 7+ years HTML, CSS, 3+ SQL, 5+ JavaScript. That is just HR. That's all. That's really all it is. HR. Out. In my opinion, I can't say it. Some people disagree. There are certain roles that require more experience than the other in certain parts of that. But in my opinion, most of the time, HR is just coming up with shit. Have I heard of the Launch Code organization that helps developers develop themselves? So that's a very nice way of, have I heard of the Launch Code organization that gets people unpaid internships? Helps developers develop themselves. So Launch Code, as far as I understand, helps developers or aspiring developers get unpaid internships, and they have a decently higher rate of getting hired by said unpaid internships. Now, I would say an organization that specializes in that is much better than taking an unpaid internship on your own. So that's one thing. I know that the organizations they work with pay, not pay, but they're, a lot of the organizations they work with are legit companies. You're talking about like Microsoft, you're talking about LinkedIn, just very large companies. So it is something that I'm very interested in, and I see them on LinkedIn. I became aware of them when I was looking for work. I'm looking for a new job. Yeah. So Forrest Tang or Ang. One of the things that I say is a lot of these job descriptions are looking for people who already have jobs. That's why recruiters steal employees away all the time, because the person that they want to hire, the guy who has 7 years HTML and CS experience, 3 years of SQL experience, 5 years of JavaScript experience, that's a senior dev that already has a job. So oftentimes that's why you do get paid more, because you're leaving one job for another that's just going to pay you more. You describe yourself as a nerd before. Have you ever had any major social anxiety? I'm not quite sure what you would define as major, but yes, I oftentimes have trouble introducing myself and talking to people who are strangers, and when I shouldn't. Yes, it's not as bad as it used to be, but yes. Hey, shout out to our homie Gabriel from Brazil. Hope to get the job in the U.S. someday. Hey, I hope to get a job in Brazil one day. So that'd be dope. What would you say the role of a senior developer is anyways? Like, what's the separation? So the question is, what's the difference between a junior developer and a senior developer? And there's a couple things, right? So when it comes to what my, and this will vary by job category, but I think this is a general summation. A junior developer is someone still, so there's two things. First, years of experience. Now, I recently had a conversation with a coworker, and he said 3+ years you're a senior developer. I always believed it was 5+ years. That's just my personal opinion. But there's a year aspect that goes along with it. So the junior, I always believe 2 years and under is a junior developer, and then up is mid. 2 to 4 is mid. 5+ is senior. Senior, the developer I was talking with said 1 year junior, 2 year mid, 3+ senior. So there's a year sort of association with it. Now there's also a what your job entails skill set. So as a junior developer, you're sort of expected to continue your education. You're a work in progress, right? Like you have potential that you are working towards. If you were dating, this is a fixer-upper. That's the junior developer. The junior developer is doing a lot of the same things as the senior developer are doing, just not as well. They're also maybe not. They're writing their own applications, but in terms of architecting things, they are limited. And that's where the senior developer comes in. Senior developer. Now you may have things like tech leads, and you may have things like architects who are really in charge of sort of passing their vision down to the junior developer, who has less of a say in those things. And a senior developer's role is also to nurture and help the junior developers when they need to. And that, I mean, that's really it in my eyes, is that the senior developer is just a more established individual who has more input in architecture, how things are done, and the role is partly to help the junior developers. Again, that varies by organization as well as your years of experience. Do I rate gold pass? No. Would it be unethical for a straight dude to get married to work in the U.S.? The question is to have a gay marriage, but I think the real question is, it's not any more unethical for someone to get married. A fake marriage is a fake marriage, regardless of gender, and so yes, regardless of sexual orientation. Would you do any certifications if your company paid for it? I would do it, yeah. I'd go back to school if they'd pay for it. Kind of like a chair and an assistant professor. That's somewhat more so, yes. Would you recommend any books? No. I'm not a believer in books. I'm a believer in video tutorials. Specific programs or parts of the job you enjoy most? I don't normally like talking about my workplace because most workplaces don't enjoy it. But I will say that every Friday for 2 hours, we have a hackathon of which we can build anything we want. So that was something that I really like about my current role. Is the hackathon time, as well as the demo time to demo our code to our other teammates who we don't see as much, right? So I really work with two or three developers, and in total there's about 25 or 30 developers and growing, and so it gives us a chance to demo our stuff. I've not seen the new VeggieTales. I've not seen the old VeggieTales. But those are some of the programs that I really enjoy at my current work. Do I talk to my cats like I talk to a human? Do you use a special cat voice? It kind of depends. Sorry, guys. Let's wrap up tonight's live stream. For those of you who are new, I like to end my live streams with a final thought, something to put a nail in the coffin, and sort of steal a little bit of still, I'm not gonna shit over. Still a little bit of Jerry Springer's glory. Thank you to the 28,000 of you who were here before. Thank you to the 1,000 new subscribers. We do these every 1,000 subscribers. And today we'll talk about sort of finding your way as a developer, because that was something I talked about in a live stream recently about something missing in my life. And it really, I didn't have a direction to go. I didn't have a direction to go as a developer recently, and it was only 3 weeks before I realized how strange it was and what was missing. So regardless of where you're at in your career, I really encourage you guys to have something that you're trying to accomplish, right? And for me right now, I want to get better at JavaScript as my language of choice, right? I want to actually learn something in depth for once. I never really feel like I've learned anything in software in depth. It's always been at a working professional level, at a junior level. I can do my job, I can do it just fine, but I want to learn things in detail. I don't necessarily need to know that it works, but I want to learn everything that I can about JavaScript and Angular. That's my current goal. Before that, it was to study and practice and learn, back-end databases, build projects. So whatever you're doing in your life, wherever you're at in your career, when you accomplish one goal, try and think about what your next one is. And for me, I was feeling a little strange because I didn't have one. I realized, like, I had other goals that were related to my life, but I didn't have a goal that was related to me as a developer in my career, right? Where I wanted to go, how I was going to get better, how I was going to continue to strive. And I'm excited to see how good I can become, or how less bad is probably a better way about it. I can refactor my knowledge of JavaScript, right? So I hope that you guys are setting goals for your learning path. I hope that you're setting goals for your career path, for your life path. And I hope that you continue to come back to these every 1,000 and look forward to the video. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you all. It's been a pleasure, as it always is. And I hope that you guys are coding, and I hope that you are doing everything, because it's hard. And I have probably around 700 videos on my channel, and almost anybody can become a developer. It's hard, and not in one video will you ever see me say it's easy, but it is something that you can do. And it does take dedication, it does take commitment, it does take hard work, but it's all worth it in the end. If this is something you enjoy doing, you just got to stick with it. So thank you so much, and I'll do my best to try and keep you guys entertained, informed, and educated as much as I can. See you next time. Bye.